found out? I mean, was this all of a sudden it was an awakening to what was going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes? I mean, give us some background on that. Where were you, and then how did this happen?
Okay, so it was January of 2015. I had just begun dating who became my wife 3 or 4 weeks prior. No, yeah, 3 or 4 weeks prior. My father sends me a documentary series called the Know Your Enemy series by the Fuel Project. And I'll make sure to get you that link because it's very key. And for me,
please.
the way I explain it is this particular 77-part documentary series is about 11 hours of content altogether. It was put out by a church ministry in Ireland. The guy's Irish who put it out. But he essentially is explaining, you guys, the enemy has been using the same trick this whole time in cycles. And the first third of the series is about biblical times. The middle third is about medieval kind of Middle Ages or whatever times. And then the final third is about modern ecumenicalism and all these different things going on in the modern era. And it was a couple things along the course of that documentary series. And the best way I explain it is that series gave me the border to the bigger picture. It wasn't like super in depth with everything that I know now. It was just saying, hey, everybody, here's what's up. This is how the enemy seems to work in these cycles. He does this, then he does this, then he like seduces you, then he intimidates you, and then it's like free will. You have to give in. Here's several examples of that. And there was a few things the documentary brought out that was like a gong for me. So prior to having met my bride, my ex, she worked for a celebrity and they lived at the top of Mulholland Drive. And I would often be at their place, and I learned just about the proximity to that location with this famous Laurel Canyon compound that I later came to learn had such significance in the 60s and 70s, with a lot of the reason things are the way they are now at the time. But I drove past this place for like a year or more of my life, like right going to my girl's house. You see what I'm saying? It was one of these things that was like, whoa, this is a bit too close to home. There were people they did discuss that I had already worked with, like celebrity people. I'm like, whoa, that was, I knew something was weird at the time. I couldn't put my finger on it, but if that's what that was, like, whoa, like, could that have been like,
and
maybe
what
that was?
Just so for those that may not know, Mulholland Drive, and that's obviously in Hollywood. That has no connection to like the Tate Manson murders and things, or was that in that same area? It was.
Yeah, it's because that Laurel Canyon compound has all that connection to the Manson murders. That compound is right on the corner of Laurel and Mulholland. Laurel Canyon is one of the 3 major ways you get from the valley of LA down into Hollywood. The 101, the 405, Laurel Canyon, or the beach, or the other one through the other mountain. Anyway, it's a famous route because it's only one of 3 or 4 ways to get down into LA. And what the movie that Mulholland Drive is about is kind of playing into the folklore of that thing. It's a famous road at the very top of the biggest mountain in Los Angeles. So Tom Cruise's house is there. Justin Timberlake's house is there. All the celebrities, all the star tours go by. All these different people who everybody knows their name basically you don't even get the opportunity to bid on real estate up there unless you it's like you're on a roster already. So it's just a pretty covetous place. And I don't mean that like personally covetous. I'm just saying it's real estate. It's prime Los Angeles real estate. So prime, they made a whole movie about it. And this famous compound is right at the apex of that street and this other famous street that I lived on at the bottom in the valley side. But then I drove up that street, Laurel Canyon, and then on the Mulholland to go where I had to go. And it was one of those things that for me, it was one of those, the father making it quite clear. You was driving through this whole time and you dodged it. But now that you're clear that this is what was going on. And from then in the 60s all the way to now. So it really kind of made me step back and be like, whoa, what is this? And so it was this documentary that, to answer your question more poignantly, that was the kickoff. It was the this documentary first put the, whoa, maybe this whole Illuminati thing is real. Like, I always heard people talk about it, and I didn't really have a strong opinion one way or the other. I would never tell you it wasn't real, but I would never tell you, oh yeah, I see it all the time in Hollywood. I would say I saw several anomalous situations and several strangely unfortunate situations, and heard several crazy stories that, because I was close enough to the proximity of the name/influence, it allowed me to be able to see, just by my perspective, not because of my smarts, just because of my perspective. Oh, this is how the whole world can get deceived by this thing, because nobody really sees what the editor and the director and the producers don't want them to see. And it's really, really easy as an editor, director, and producer to just be like, nope, we're not showing that. Okay, change that, move this over here, cover that up, put this word over here they didn't say, take this word from 3 days ago, put that. I can build whatever story I want to in the edit. Yeah. And they very much do that in terms of the lives of these people, to the point where you really see the enslavement firsthand. Like, you really get the impression, like, got it, they're not at all in control of their situation.
You say